Welcome to Sitting with Spirit, my loves. This is a segment where I tune in, literally sit with Spirit, as well as our angels and guides, and give the messages for the collective. Sometimes I do bring through past loved ones, as a lot of people listen to this podcast. Don't have to make everything fit, but know that Spirit works together to give specific sets of evidence that will resonate with more than one person. And if some of it resonates, but not all of it, that's okay. It's basically just a wink from your past loved ones in spirit. Like, look at this synchronicity. We're here with you too. So the first thing I got was from our angels. So I started off speaking to our angels, and then I did bring through a male past loved one who I'll speak about in a second. But I want to start with the angel messages this week. And one of the first angel messages is when we are in a place of feeling afraid to be loud, bold, authentic, and unapologetic, we block ourselves from the kind of success that we're looking for. So let me give you an example. So if you're really in your head, like say for example, I talked about on the podcast that it felt so unsafe for me to disagree. And that's because it's like, I want people to agree with me because that feels safe to me. And that shows me that they understand what I'm saying and I feel heard and I feel smart or whatever those things are. And so when we're in a state where it's like, I feel unsafe to disagree with people or to not be liked, we shape shift to please everyone else, and then we dilute our authentic expression. We already know that, but on the energetic standpoint, how that blocks us from manifestation, creation, and success on a larger scale is that we're subconsciously telling the universe, I don't feel safe to be seen at a bigger level. I don't feel safe to be successful because there's going to be people that don't like you. There's going to be people that disagree with you. There's going to be people that say mean things. And if we on the micro are so uncomfortable with that and give our power away to that dynamic, it stops us from being able to be received in a bigger way because it's like, copy that, we'll shield you, we'll protect you. And part of that is keeping you small. And I'm sharing this message because it's a personal one that I've been getting recently too, as I've been working on feeling safe to disagree, especially with certain family members. I keep like putting passive aggressive comments of like different family members I'm like having trouble with. I love my family. I'm going to have to work on that. So this is really important because I was on the couch and I was replaying this disagreement and I felt so unsafe to disagree. And I finally made this choice of like working through this, really coming into my power, trusting, feeling safe that, okay, not everybody's going to like me. And that really goes back to me being bullied as a kid and so much to unpack about that. But I was like, okay, not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to agree with me. And I mean, there's a certain level of healing that it takes to even have a podcast and talk about this kind of stuff so openly. And I've been on my own journey with that. But now I feel like I'm at this next level of like, it's safe to be in my authentic truth. And after I made that full body resonance, my angels were like, yeah, and that allows us to sort of blow you up more. It allows us to get you out there to more people because you feel safe in your body and you're opening up to that now. And the moment I made that shift, the day I made that shift, like a cool synchronicity and opportunity opened up for me that could lead to reaching more people. So I feel like it's so directly linked, and we might not realize that we're calling in success on a large scale, a book deal, a movie, or whatever it is. But then the subconscious ways that we don't feel safe to be disagreed with or, show up authentically can be sabotaging that experience because we, on a subconscious level, don't feel safe to step into those shoes. So that's the first message. And it's so sneaky. It's so sneaky trying to control us that way. And so just shine a light on that and reflect on that and just see where you might be keeping yourself in an uncomfortable comfort zone because on a subconscious level, the universe is like, okay, great. We won't put anybody in her path that disagrees with her. So the next message that I got was such a cool image from our angels and guides. And like I always say, the interview always primes my consciousness for the messages that want to come through next that really wrap up nicely with the episode. And I know I've shared before about seeing this witch's hat made of pure turquoise light. But this time, and this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this, I saw a witch's hat made out of all of these different types of clay from different types of places in the world. Red clay, yellow clay, like all of these different types of clay swirling together from different lands, different sacred sites to form this witch's hat. And it felt like a witch's hat that when you put it on your head was like an exhale. It just felt like a reclamation. It felt so grounding. Whereas a lot of the witch's hat meditations that I do sort of shoot our energy up and our consciousness up to connect with the divine and our higher self. This witch's hat was directing us. It was an earth element witch's hat. It was directing us to the ground, to our roots, to just this more embodied, slow magic that is the other part of the duality. Like, you know, I connect so much as a witch who is an oracle and who works with the stars and who talks to the spirit world. But there's also so much juiciness and magic, like Lisa said, in the mystery school of our body and the magic of the earth and the slowing down in the womb and the silence. And that's what this witch's hat felt like it was attuning our energy to collectively. And when I get symbols like this, it's an invitation for you to meditate on that symbol as a energetic code that will already prime your consciousness for that energy. So when I talk about different witches' hats or symbols, I invite you to just think about that energy and invite you to see where that takes you. And so our angel said the reason that this witch's hat is made of clay is because it's time to shape a new consciousness. And so like clay, the witch's hat is helping us mold ourselves into this new consciousness of deeper love, power, and rootedness. And it just was this like full body exhale, relaxing feeling when I felt into this energy. And with that, I saw the symbol of a baby. And when I see a baby as a symbol, it can, yes, mean an actual baby. But more often, it's us going through a rebirth moment. And that is why this witch's hat was made of clay, because it's time to shape and mold a new version of self that this witch's hat is helping us to do. And so a lot of people are going through this moment now of crossroads, of rebirth, of a new version of self. And with that, I saw the Aries symbol. And that doesn't mean you have to be an Aries. They speak to me archetypally because I'm an astrologer. And Aries is initiation. It's bravery. It's following that spark of passion and joy and interest and curiosity. It's the fool in the tarot that jumps off the cliff, not knowing what's on the other side and not caring, just taking the leap of faith. And that's the feeling that I get. It's like the safety. It takes those deep healed roots to find the safety to grow to the sky and to take those leaps of faith. And that's why these messages are coming together, because until we feel rooted and grounded and safe in ourselves, it will be really hard to find the bravery to take those leaps of faith and to jump into the unknown. And so we are in this moment of newness, rebirth, initiation, trying on a new version of self for size. And our angels and guides are celebrating that and cheering us on, as are all of our ancestors who came before us who hold that witchy wisdom. And so now I want to go to the spirit that I connected with. So I connected with a father energy on the other side. And I did feel like he struggled with memory loss towards the end. And because of that, I was feeling this like not getting to say goodbye. But with that, I also got this feeling of even when he had his full memory, he wasn't the best communicator. He wasn't the best at articulating himself. He felt kind of like a hard time connecting. I felt a lot of pain on his chest, and it made me feel like he either passed from a heart attack or had something with his chest or heart area that was really being lit up. And then I was seeing boxing gloves and like dumbbells, and it made me feel like there might be a connection to boxing, working out a lot, being really physically fit with him when he was here. But I felt like the boxing gloves were symbolic of two different things. Like, yes, the actual boxing, but I also felt a kind of combativeness in his nature. And I felt this sense of like, it's sort of my way or the highway, or I'm so like strong on my views. And like, if you don't agree with me, like I'm just going to close up. And so he came in with his mom. And I feel like some of his sort of wounding and things like that started in his dynamic with his mom because she felt very similar energetically. And basically, oh, and I also saw a J name associated with him. So I felt like there was something with the letter J with his name. And so the message that I get here is that he, as a father, didn't know what to do with a daughter who was such a sensitive feeler, who needed a completely different, him to show up a completely different way. And there's an apology there from him of saying, I'm so sorry that I missed the mark. I couldn't even be there for my own emotions. I learned what feminine energy was from my mom, who had her own sort of difficult dynamic with me. And I just did not know what to do with you and how to love you and how to show up for you. And I'm very sorry that I couldn't be there in the way you needed me to. And so there's an apology with this spirit, with this father energy. And the feeling that I get too is that you're choosing a new path. You're breaking an ancestral cycle, and he's proud of you, and that he can support you more on the other side than he could here. And he shows me a sunrise. And that is my symbol for like a new dawn, a new day. After we've kind of gone through a dark time, the light coming back. And so the feeling that I get with him is that there's a lot of grief and there was a lot of pain in your relationship with him. It felt a little bit strained. And I just get the feeling that he wasn't one that invited debate or deeper discussions. It just felt like there was a lot of pain and tension between both of you. And he carried a lot of his own wounding deep in his heart without knowing what to do with it. And so again, there's just this feeling here of, I'm really sorry I didn't know how to love you. I love you so much. I do feel like there's another sister energy with this person. He's talking about having more than one girl and not knowing what to do with them. So the feeling that I get here is like, he's showing this pathway, and I feel like he had an invitation to this pathway and he ran from it, but you're accepting the call to the pathway, and that he can walk that pathway with you just in spirit, and that he's really proud of you. And so that's the message here today, is that sometimes our parents, with their own trauma and their own limited toolbox, don't know what to do with us when we demand a higher consciousness of them. And because of that, they can tell us we're wrong, don't trust your feelings, stay in line. And they can try to just sort of push us down as a reflection of their own pain. And that's the apology here today. And actually that resistance in you, that sensitivity, is the greatest gift that your bloodline needed. So thank you for that, and continue to nurture that, because that's your superpower. So much love to you all today. Claire, is there anything you want to add?
I just am buzzing from this episode, and I feel like it was such an invitation for us all to connect to our power and connect to the power of our bodies and step more fully into that. And I'm really excited to meditate with that witch's hat image and see what comes up.
Yes. When they were like, it's made of clay because it's time to reshape your consciousness, I was like, wow, mic drop. I love, and that's exactly what I mean by some of the best messages are the ones that surprise us. Like when I heard that, I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah, so awesome. This was such an amazing episode. I know it will resonate with you all as well. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and thank you so much for being here.